Chapter 14. Okei sat in the wagon outside Bell's store in Coloma, waiting for Matsu to finish loading their supplies. She looked at the remains of Sutter's Mill, where logs were milled and where the first gold nugget was found in 1848. She had seen gold nuggets. Herr Schnell kept a few of the yellow pebbles in his pocket and sometimes pulled them out so his family, including Okei, could look at them and hold them. She was amazed that something so small could have been so valuable. She heard that people had come from all over the world just to search for gold in California. Coloma was a busy town from 1848 to 1854. At first, the miners found lots of gold, but then there were too many people, and the gold was harder to find. Most of the businesses eventually closed down, and people moved on. Now there were very few miners, and they usually kept to themselves. Sometimes, though, they would come into town for a bath or a hotel meal. Okei gazed at the material she had just purchased, a pretty blue calico. She ran her fingers over it, enjoying the feel of new cotton, soft and smooth. Now I can make another dress for Frances-chan, who is growing fast and is tall for a 4-year-old. I will make a dress for her just like the ones the neighbor girls wear, with buttons down the front and a full gathered skirt. I will make one for Mary-chan, too. She smiled as she thought about the hat Herr Schnell brought back from San Francisco for Frances. It was much too fancy for the country, but Frances loved it and wore it every day. It was blue, the same shade as the calico material, and prettied up with ribbons and lace. Herr Schnell returned with good news from the San Francisco Horticultural Fair. The colony's products received great reviews in the newspapers, and there would be no problem finding buyers for all of the tea and oil that they could produce. The wagon shifted slightly as Matsu put a large bag of flour into the back. Okei came quickly out of her thoughts. As she turned around, she saw 3 men swaggering up behind Matsu. They stopped only a few feet away from him. "Hey, looky there," said one of the men, pointing his bony finger at Matsu. Okei recognized them as the unpleasant miners, the scruffy men who had stopped the water from coming down their creek. The most obnoxious one, the miner they referred to as Lockjaw, said, "There's those darn foreigners who are stealing our water," and he spat into the dirt just inches away from Matsu's boot. Okei froze. She turned white with fear. She did not understand what he said, but she felt the hatred. The miners' mouths twisted into ugly snarls. Their eyes became malicious stares. Matsu ignored them, climbed into the wagon, and snapped the reins. The horse pulled the wagon neatly away, and soon they were headed out of town. "Okay," said Matsu. "That is an evil man. He is selfish and greedy. Do not ever let him see fear in your eyes. Be strong." She looked at Matsu and said quietly, "Did you see him look at us, Matsu-san? He is filled with hate. He hates us because we have the water. He wants the water to help him flush out the gold, but the water is not his." Matsu paused, as though thinking, and then he continued, "I do not trust those men. They know Schnell-san has legal rights to use the water. They want all of it for themselves. You must always be watchful, for they will harm us if they can." Both of them were quiet the rest of the way home. As the wagon rolled along, Okei tried to imagine what the miners might do. Are those men really as dangerous as Matsu-san says? Is it gold that causes such hatred? She gripped the side rail tightly as she thought about the girls and recalled the words Herr Schnell had said to her almost 2 years ago in the garden. Above all else, you must keep Frances-chan safe. Now it would be both girls. "I will let no harm come to Frances-chan and Mary-chan. I must be ever watchful." Okei's commitment to protect the girls quickly overcame her fear.